Hey guys, what's up? On today's episode, we'll take a look at the Lie-Nielson number 62 low angle jack plane. It's awesome. I just finished up the blanket chest project, and in that project I used very heavily figured soft maple, which is really hard to work with, real easy to get tear out and that type of thing when you're using hand tools, even when you're using power tools. And this thing just flat impressed the heck out of me. This low angle jack plane for me is the perfect tool to purchase for the guy who's just getting into using hand tools. And the reason for that, in my mind, is that it is so versatile. In reality, except for also needing a block plane, this may be the only plane that you need to purchase. The reason that it's so versatile has a lot to do with the angle at which this is bedded into the plane, and then the ability to very quickly change from one plane iron to another. I mean, it just slips out, you slip in the other plane iron, put your cap on, lock it in place, and you're good to go. The throat is also easily adjusted. You back off this knob and then adjust the throat depending on the type of material that you're using. I'll show you from this other angle here too. But I mean, just look at the fit and finish of this tool, just amazing. Close it up nice and tight or open it up for heavier stock removal. Lock it back down into place. And that's it. The depth of your cut is easily adjusted with this knob and makes really fine adjustments. And you can lock it into place wherever you need it. The angle at which you're attacking a piece of work is very important. And the reason for that is different woods react differently to being planed at different angles. The blanket chest project that I just finished was made out of soft curly maple, and that is notoriously hard to work with because of all the tear out that can occur. Even with using a power jointer or a power planer, you're going to get a lot of tear out as that material moves across those blades. Having a tool like this takes all that away. This is the tool to have for something like that. Plane will come from the factory with an iron that's been ground at a 25-degree bevel. It's seated into the plane at 12 degrees. That gives you an effective angle of attack of about 37 degrees, which is great whenever you're wanting to work on end grain or when you're working on hard, dense woods that aren't heavily figured, or even if you're wanting to do like heavy stock removal to get a piece of material dimensioned down before you start working with it. Now, whenever you change to a softer wood or woods that are heavily figured, and you're not wanting to remove a ton of material, but you're wanting to get that nice, perfect finish so you don't have to mess with sanding and that type thing, that's when you'll want a second plane iron that is ground to a much higher angle. In this case, I ground this one to 45 degrees. So 45 degrees plus the 12-degree bedding angle into the plane gets us up to 57 degrees. So a 57-degree angle of attack. And whenever you're dealing with those heavily figured, softer woods, you really have to get up to that type of angle for it to respond like a smoothing plane. And you can check out the video on that blanket chest project that I just completed, but that finish came out perfect. Crazy thin shavings, no tear out, and just beautiful wood. Put an oil, just a natural oil finish on it, and wow. So finishing that project using this tool to do so many different aspects of that project, it made it all worth it for me. I couldn't be happier with this plane. You can also get plane irons that are toothed for even heavier stock removal, and then they also have a scraping plane that's just ground to a 90-degree bevel or 90-degree angle. And I grinding this one to 45 degrees and then working on that soft curly maple, I really don't see a need for the 90-degree scraper myself. But you may work with something different and that would work out better for you. But this was the first serious hand plane that I bought, and when it was the only hand plane that I had, I was able to use it for all those tasks. I was able to use it as a jointer. It works great on in-grain, which is hard to do. It's hard to find one plane that you can go all the way from working on in-grain, heavy stock material removal, and then use it as a finishing plane. I don't even own a smoothing plane or a finish smoother. This is the only one that I need. I think that this tool is worth the price. There are other things that people like Lie-Nielson or Veritas or whoever make that you don't really need, and it's just cool to have, and we all become tool collectors, I think, at some point. I think every woodworker, at some point, there's some part of them that's just kind of a tool collector too. But when it comes to actually doing work with a nice, really nice premium tool, this is it. This is the hand tool that you should have. This is my favorite. I shouldn't say that. I think this is my favorite tool. I think. Yeah. It's nice.